See, recording.
Kathy.
Yeah. Hi, Duncan.
Hi. So normally I know sitting meditation is done with legs crossed. Can I have my knees up here like this? It's just easier for me to be there.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Unmute me.
There you go. All right. Thanks for coming. So this week we're going to work on Kapalabhati, Bastrika, and Bhramari. And those are all heated breaths. They are in and out of the nose. So they're all going to be heated. Hello. And I'm thinking tonight we'll work on Kapalabhati. So the first thing that I want to talk about is Kapalabhati means skull shining. And there's an idea that the energy comes up the back of the spine and then it bumps up against the inside of the skull. And when it bumps up against the inside of the skull, it chips off any sediment that has occurred there. And this sediment is dark, sooty sediment that can build up in the nadis, but for whatever reason, it also can build up on the inside layer of the skull. So Kapalabhati is pumping the energy to chip off any debris that has stuck to the inside lining of the skull and get it out of the system so that the top chakras, however many chakras you like, there's different maps, but so that the very crown chakra and possibly one above it, that those chakras are more accessible. And all of the chakras can bring energy in and also put energy out, or bring information in and put information out. So it's kind of a two-way interaction on that. But I do think Kapalabhati is cool because it's chipping this soot off. And the soot is called karma. And in most of the pranayamas, we are exercising the nadis. And the nadis are the energetic tubes. And these nadis can actually, kind of like when we exercise our muscles, they get a little bit bigger and they also get a little bit more defined. The nadi channels that are these tubes can get a little bit larger so that when we're not doing pranayama, we're actually processing more prana. We're actually having more energy in our system even when we're relaxed. So that's just some of the background. Kapalabhati is an exhale out of the nose, and then the inhale is automatic. The inhale is passive. So when fighters are fighting, they don't throw a punch and leave their arm out there. Their hand comes back, and it's almost like a reflex so that they can throw another punch. They usually are thinking about the punch, not the, oh, I'm going to pull my hand back. So Kapalabhati is punching the exhale out, and it'll clean the top of the skull, punching the exhale out and letting the inhale be passive. So I'm going to do 3 demos. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is all of the pranayama, any of the pranayama that we work on, it can be done really, really gently, or it can be done moderately, or it can be done intensely. And I tend to be a little bit more intense than moderate. Kapalabhati, if I keep it moderate, I can go for a much longer amount of time. So anyway, here's my demos. The first one, I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it. It's like if you've ever seen a bunny when they're panting, you know, it sounds like this. So here it is. You can't really hear that, can you? And then here's the medium one. And then Here's the intense one. And I don't usually practice Kapalabhati that intensely, but some people do. So it's a punch of the exhale, punch of the exhale, punch of the exhale, punch of the exhale. We'll give it a few tries and then we'll take questions and answers. So inhale, and then go ahead. Punch, 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 punch. And then release. Inhale. Exhale. Automatic breathing. And release. Questions or answers? You're good? Okay. So we'll do it. Go ahead, Erica. Do you have a question?
Is the exhale like Ujjayi exhale?
Yeah, but it's like faster. It's kind of sharper. It's a little bit sharper than Ujjayi. So it's so it does have some sound to it, but it's very fast. And the set that we previously did, I counted 65. I have no idea why, but when I first learned Kapalabhati, my teacher said, you want to work up to be able to do this 65 times. And I was like, okay. So I did. And then after that, I ran into someone and they said, you should be able to do Kapalabhati for 15 minutes without having to take another inhale. That's so funny. And I wish that we were not muted at that moment. And so I did work up to 15 minutes. I usually can do 8. I don't practice it very often. I did work up to 15 minutes because I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do this. But I can usually do about 3 to 8 minutes without it being an issue. But in the beginning, the first few times, we're just going to do 65. I'm going to do 65. So here's another thing. With Kapalabhati, it's like I inhale and I have this much air in, and then I get to a place where I can maintain it and I can just cruise. And if I start to run out of air, I push the exhale harder and it'll get me back up to where I can maintain it. So if you start to run out of air, it's a little bit counterintuitive, but if you start to run out of air, pump that exhale out and then more air will suck in automatically on the next inhale. All right, here we go again. Inhale and start. And release, inhale, exhale, automatic breathing. And release. This time we're going to experiment with intensity. I've been doing medium intensity. So this next one, I'm going to do really, really low intensity, which means when I inhale and then I start to go, I'm actually going to inhale a less amount, and then I'm going to go very, very gently. Okay? So try to do something that's a little bit less intense than what you were just doing. Go ahead, inhale. And release, inhale, exhale, automatic breathing. And release. And then we're going to up it, which is probably where we were, about medium. So go ahead and inhale, medium intensity, and start. And release. Inhale, exhale, automatic breathing. And release. And the next experiment we'll do is a higher intensity. It can be a little bit higher or a lot higher. Um, the higher the intensity, the more likely we are to have to kind of bail out or take an extra breath or something like that. So don't expect it to go as smoothly as the two previous experiments. Inhale. And release. Inhale. Exhale. Automatic breathing. And release. With the higher intensity, it's a little bit like practicing Agnasari Dauti or Nali, like if you're doing Kapalabhati with a pretty high intensity, you might have sore abs tomorrow morning, especially the innermost abs. I think that's kind of funny. Questions, answers, comments before we move on?
Kathy, from like a muscular like pumping piece, are you trying to use like Mula Bandha and your diaphragm and everything together? Like how is it supposed to feel, this pump?
You can have Mula Bandha on, and you don't have to have Mula Bandha on. Because I practice so much Ashtanga, I often have Mula Bandha on when I'm practicing Kapalabhati. Usually it's not part of the instruction. And Kapalabhati, most of the pranayamas are not taught in asana. They're taught seated. So totally up to you whether you want to have Mula Bandha on or not. If it's on, it's consistent. So Mula Bandha isn't going on, off, on, off with the diaphragm. It's Mula Bandha's on and the diaphragm is pumping, or Mula Bandha is pretty relaxed, although it's still going to be on a little bit just because you're seated upright, you know.
Okay. And then
go ahead, do the experiment though.
Okay. And then I don't know a whole lot about all the differences of what we're gonna do this week, but like between Bastrika and Kapalabhati, is the thought you just don't think about the inhale? It's just really focusing on that exhale only.
Correct. Kapalabhati is all about the exhale. The exhale, the exhale, the exhale, the exhale, the exhale, the exhale, the exhale. And the inhale happens automatically. So just, Maura, what were you going to say? And then I want to talk about bodily sensations.
Well, it's along the same lines as Nicole's question. So my Kapalabhati kept wanting to turn itself into Bastrika, like halfway through. Like I'd be like maintaining that focus on the exhale, and then all of a sudden I'd realize I was doing Bastrika.
Right. Yeah, and Maria too. That's because
the same thing happened to me.
I believe that's because you guys already know Bastrika and your body likes it. Another thing is when the diaphragm starts to get tired, it wants a little more of a pause, and it can gain that pause if you draw the inhale out. Like if you lengthen the inhale, it actually gets a little more of a pause than if it's just like a bounce back. It's like dribbling a ball, you know, and you're kind of doing that with your diaphragm. So when the diaphragm gets tired, it's like, hold on, let me do this in a more equal manner. So it could be the diaphragm is getting tired. It also could be just that you guys know Bastrika, so it's easier because you already know it. At least you 3 or 4 people, 5, most of you.
Kathy,
Yeah.
So a question, does this respond well to practice?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't everything?
Just checking.
Yes, definitely. And you might go from being able to take 5 breaths before you have to inhale to being able to take 20 breaths before you have to inhale. Or it might go from 20 to 20 breaths are comfortable. And then a week later, you're like, oh, 2 minutes is okay. I mean, I know 2 minutes seems like a lot, but it after a while, it becomes not a lot. And we're coordinating the inside of our body to do something bizarre. So, there is a little bit of a learning time there. So the physical, go ahead.
So
do people just do this in isolation without, I mean, not like isolated from other people. I mean, this exercise isolated from other breathing exercises.
Yeah, a lot of people do. A lot of people will have, many people, their routine of pranayama will be like 2 minutes of Kapalabhati, 5 minutes of meditation, 2 minutes of alternate nostril breathing of some sort, 5 minutes of meditation or rest or recovery or whatever. Like there are an infinite number of patterns. Kapalabhati, the way that I've ever seen it practiced is on its own, with the idea that we're gaining more time in that pumping state. The only other thing I've ever seen is I took an old school Iyengar class. I mean, I took way too many, but I didn't have any other options. It was perfect because if I had had other options, I would not have taken these 2-hour long painful classes. And in triangle, we would do Kapalabhati, which I thought was crazy, but we weren't doing Ujjayi, you know, we weren't like flowing from one posture to the next. It was like 2 hours of working on triangle and then adding Kapalabhati to it. And we only added it on open triangle because none of us were ready for doing it in rotated triangle, which was just fine with me. So yeah, other than that one Iyengar class, I've only seen it by itself and seated. Good question.
And
Anybody
Kathy,
else? Go ahead.
can I ask about pace?
Yeah,
Like the rhythm?
yeah.
So when you said like how to make this a little different than Bastrika, I'm thinking the exhale is longer than the inhale because you're just so focusing on exhaling.
Yeah. I'm going to see if I can get close enough that you guys can hear this better. Okay, so here is, hold on. Here is my body. Here is Bastrika. Here's Kapalabhati.
So the rhythm overall is much faster and it's mostly exhale.
Yeah. Yeah, because with Bastrika, which we'll go over Bastrika tomorrow, what we'll do tomorrow is we'll practice some Kapalabhati because now we have all this experience. And then we'll go over Bastrika and then we'll kind of go over like Kapalabhati, how does this feel? Bastrika, how does this feel? Kapalabhati, Bastrika, back and forth. But I knew that Kapalabhati was going to be a curious thing. So tonight it's all Kapalabhati. Does anyone else have any questions or answers? Not yet? Okay, so here's another thing about any pranayama that you're doing when you're seated. And that is that down around the sacrum, there may be sensation like tingling or something up around the shoulder blades. Some people get it just under the collarbone. Most people get it on the back side of the body, kind of like right between and underneath the shoulder blades. And it's just kind of nerve feedback where your body's like, what are you asking me to do? And how does that affect these supporting muscles? And then how do those muscles end up stimulating the nerves? So there might be some nervy feeling in the sacrum or the shoulders. And definitely there's some sensation in the diaphragm, which could be your whole abdominal area or just the diaphragm. So all of those things are normal. Does anyone else have anything to say, or do you want to do Kapalabhati one more time. Okay, good. You guys, it just tickles me to take one little thing and work on it for half an hour. Like, I love this work. I love this so much. Okay, so you're going to inhale. You're going to pick your own intensity and pick your own amount of time that you want to do it. It's 7:27. So I will stop us in about 2.5 minutes. Now, minute and a half. That's what I'll do. Minute and a half. That way it's not too long. But you can stop at any point. Go right ahead. And release. An inhale and exhale, automatic breathing. And release. Questions, comments? Kate, I appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Yeah, I have something to say.
Go
So
ahead, Duncan.
in that very last section, I was like, this really funny image came across of like, I feel like a panting dog, right?
Yes.
And it was and like I just couldn't stop laughing. I was laughing. It was just such a happy thought. And it's like it's just such a funny image. It just made me laugh.
Yeah. Yeah, it is like a panting dog. The reason I say a bunny is because the bunnies, like if you get a chance to see any bunny rabbits this summer and they're kind of stretched out and they're panting, that's like what Kapalabhati is.
Really?
Yeah, the bunnies do it with their mouth closed and the dogs pant to cool their tongue.
Right.
The dogs are actually doing like shikari or sitali.
Okay.
Yeah. But yes, you're right. It's that kind of rhythm.
Yeah.
Good. Maura?
It's just really a challenge. To me, it feels like the least natural of all the kinds of pranayama I've done with you. It's something
Yeah.
fun, so that's good.
You know, Kathy, that somebody told me, I don't know if it's true or not, but someone told me that Kapalabhati is used to lose weight. And I was like, that's weird. I was like, I've never heard that. And then I looked online and I actually found some people that say that they use it I think I actually found something that is, I'll see if I can find and share it with you, because I don't want to say something that is, but I think I read something from a kind of reliable source, and I don't know if if you've heard of that. I mean, not that we need it, but I'm just
Right.
asking.
So I mean, unfortunately, we live in a culture where that's what people kind of glom onto. If any weight loss occurs from Kapalabhati, there's two reasons. The main reason is because it's a heated breath. Like I got warm. I could have taken my sweatshirt off. I got so warm. It's a heated breath. And then the other reason is, I didn't learn this until like 5 years ago, but when people who are working out, they're like, burn it off or whatever. It's actually true. The way that we get rid of fat is we turn it into gas and we exhale it, which is crazy to me. I just assumed that I pooped fat out. I don't know. I mean, fat, like I can kind of feel some fat. I just was surprised, like, oh, I'm going to turn this into a vapor and exhale it. That's amazing. We are amazing.
What about breathing through the skin? Does that release fat too?
I don't really know about that.
Mm.
That isn't anything that I've been taught.
Mm.
I've been taught about tasting with fingers. Like when you eat your food with your fingers, sometimes you can taste it.
Really?
It hits your mouth. Yeah.
That's hysterical. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kate, were you going to say something? I can't hear you. I'm sorry. There you go.
There. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Sorry. First of all, thank you. I don't know what I'm doing, and it's been a long time since I've done yoga, but I remember it brought me back because I used to do Bikram, and that terrifies me, the idea of it now. But at the end of each Bikram class, they would do like Kapalabhati breathing, which makes sense with all of it, how it's not like when I was laughing when the other woman said that it's unnatural, and then the focus on fat burning thing too, that all kind of aligns with that. And it's kind of a militant practice, I guess, so yeah, I can't do it now. I used to be able to do it, but so the other one that you showed, that the other people, that felt more like what I was doing instead of the Kapalabhati.
Yeah.
And then with the other guy, when the other person was talking about the dog, that made me think of I have Pomeranians, and one thing I do with my daughter just to play with her is I'll pretend I'm a dog, and like I can show, and I kind of do this thing where I go, all over her. And like, and so that reminds me of that, and it tickles her, and it's funny. So that thank you for bringing that up, because that actually, like, it's cool. Thank you very much.
Very cool. Lori, go ahead.
I like your bunny analogy. That really helps. And I think this is might be my favorite breathing. And I feel like I'm a dental hygienist chipping away at the inside of my skull.
Yeah.
Like, image. It's like chip, 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 chip.
Yeah. Just polish it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Thank you, everyone. Maybe I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
Sweet dreams. Bye. Thank you.
Bye, Kathy. Love
Bye,
you.
Laura. Bye, Kate. Bye, Hannah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye, Duncan.